Now let's do some political questions, Attorney General. Because you are the government, there are two articles that I set out, Article 78 and Article 128. 78 is the appointment of ministers like yourself, executive appointment by the President, ministers of state. There's no limit on it. And people have criticized President Akufo-Addo for appointing over 100 ministers. And they're saying that if we don't limit this, another president may come and appoint 150 ministers, 200 ministers. So that's one. The other one is 128, which is quite critical, the lack of upper limit of the Supreme Court. Particularly Akufo-Addo's government, which is sort of birthed out of the Ghana Bar Association, if you like, is being accused of packing the courts and appointing judges upon judges because there's no upper limit. Do you think, in the whole conversation now about constitutional amendment, that we should look at 78 to limit the number of ministers a president can have? Because some people think it should actually be 19, which is cabinet, as delineated by the Constitution. And then also to limit the number of judges that we may have. 128 makes a minimum of 10, the Chief Justice and 9 others. Should we say 13 final, 14 final, like America has 9 only, and they will have 9 all day long, all year long, 100 years long, they will have 9. We know that there are discussions in America now to amend them. Are you of the view that 78 and 128 should change?
Sure. So I think that these are quite interesting questions, and of course, always susceptible to all manner of emotional and political interpretations. Now, inherent in Article 78 itself is a limitation. The president is enjoined to appoint maximum 19 as part of his cabinet. But the president is, of course, at liberty to designate any agency, any part of affairs of state as a ministry and appoint a minister responsible for it. Now, I do not think that there ought to be a constraint in that regard. I think the real difficulty with Article 78 is the requirement on the president to appoint majority of his ministers from parliament. I think that that's a provision crying for constitutional amendment. I do not see it as justified, because that inherent in that is actually a situation where Parliament will be undermined effectively. Because if the president is enjoined to appoint most of his ministers from majority of his ministers from Parliament, clearly most parliamentarians will be looking over their shoulders for appointment into the president's government, and that effectively has an effect on the independence and efficiency of Parliament and all. So I think it's a provision that has to be amended. Now, with regards to the Supreme Court, it's also pertinent to recognize that the Supreme Court of Ghana has a variety of jurisdictions. So the Supreme Court of Ghana is an appellate court. It's a court of original jurisdiction which deals with constitutional matters. It's a court that you have recourse to if an allegation is made and a document that is required of a person to produce in proceedings before a court borders on national security and therefore does not have to produce. It has that jurisdiction under Article 135 of the Constitution. Has the jurisdiction in respect of presidential election petitions. It also has jurisdiction has a review jurisdiction. Has a supervisory jurisdiction over lower court. So indeed, you see a combination of jurisdictions exercised by the Supreme Court of Ghana. And I think that the difficulty with or the lack of efficiency, with all respect, if at all, on the part of the Supreme Court, is not really in respect of the number of judges or the limit to the judges, but it's actually with respect to how these jurisdictions are exercised. Now, I'm of the view that in view of this multiplicity of jurisdictions exercised by the Supreme Court, it will be we'll be shooting ourselves in the foot as a nation if we go by the practice in the United States of America, where we appoint only 9 judges of the Supreme Court,
or 13.
I think that there ought to be some flexibility. And over the years, recently, there has been the development of some a convention whereby the Supreme Court is always 15 plus the Chief Justice, or maybe just 15.
How many do we have now?
So now we have 14 in all.
Including the Chief Justice?
Including the Chief Justice, with the recent appointment of
so now, that's not the highest number we have had. We've had 15 before.
We've had 15, we've had 16. Even at the point in time, because of the imminent departure of certain judges from the court,
we had a bit more.
We had about 70, but not just for a few months when the Supreme Court judges were.
But the point you are making is that they have a lot of work to do.
They have a lot of work to do, and I think that I have always been discussing this with the Chief Justice. I've also been raising it at the Judicial Council and all. that I think there must be a rethinking of the practice of the Supreme Court. I think we should rather go by, in terms of the practice of the Supreme Court, we should adopt the American example, where the Supreme Court does not entertain any case at all. The American Supreme Court, even though...
No original jurisdiction?
No, I'm saying it does not entertain just any
case at all. Okay.
So the American Supreme Court, yes, is a court for constitutional...
So that cases don't travel automatically to the Supreme Court?
Yes, so you may have a right of appeal to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court can exercise its power.
Whether they will hear you or not?
Or hear you or not. Because
in a preliminary hearing?
No, there can even be a practice whereby some judges, maybe 3 judges of the Supreme Court, make that determination. And indeed,
develop a roster for the court.
I've seen it in the Scandinavian court. We did this recent case in Norway, and that's a practice that I was quite impressed with, the Norwegian example. So an appeal is not heard as of right in the Norwegian court. You have a right of appeal, but the right of a hearing.
I see. That's interesting.
Yes, it's not. So there's a plenary determination by a
court.
So
if they determine that they won't hear it, what happens?
That's it.
They return it to the court of appeal?
It ends the matter. And they determine whether they will hear it only when there's a new or important matter of law to be raised, not an important matter of fact. So the Norway Supreme Court does not determine appeals based on matters of fact. Does not entertain questions about the evidence. So you cannot say, as we say in Ghana, the court, that omnibus appeal basis, the judgment was against the weight of evidence. We can't do that in Norway.
When it doesn't mean much.
Yes,
and it means everything.
It means everything.
Doesn't mean much.
The judgment is against the weight of evidence. It means you have to scrutinize the evidence and see whether indeed the judge was right in giving a verdict for or against you. I mean, it doesn't happen at all. It must be on account of a new and important matter of law. So
your point is that we may need sufficient Supreme Court judges. Okay,
yes,
about that.
So I think that, yes, if the Supreme Court is combined appeal, the Constitution, when it gives the right of appeal to a person from the Court of Appeal, does not set out the procedure for regulation of that right. That procedure for regulation of that right is reserved for the Rules of Court Committee under Article 157 of the Constitution. Article 157 enjoins the Judicial Council to set up a Rules of Court Committee. As the Rules of Court Committee is set up, and it develops the rules of practice for any court at all. So the rules of practice enacted for the Supreme Court must require that in terms of appeals, there must be a satisfaction of this basis before the appeal be heard. That does not, in and of itself, curtail a person's right of appeal. It's only a regulation of the right. Because indeed, even now, the reason or the basis for an appeal to be ruled in your favor is involved by the court itself. The court has set its principles. So in respect of this general ground, judgments against weight of evidence, the various cases over the years have spelled out what it means. So I think that there should be no impediment.
So on that, you think that we should hasten slowly to limit the numbers at the Supreme Court, because there's quite a bit of them. So now we have to reform the way they do their work.
Precisely. Rather, we should concern ourselves.
We are expecting a new Chief Justice this year. Is that correct?
Yes.
So when is it going to happen?
Well, the Chief Justice, with all respect, is at the end of May, 28th of May. So there must be a replacement.
So there will be a new Chief Justice before the 28th of May or after?
It has to be after. You cannot appoint before.
Okay, maybe an announcement made, and then swearing in done later on. So
Well,
this will require parliamentary approval, isn't it? So nomination by the President and parliamentary approval.
By the President, a Council of State advising on it, the Judicial Council first, and looking at it, Council of State advising on it, before the President submits it to Parliament. So it has the participation of all these important issues of government, of state, the Judicial Council, Council of State, and then ultimately Parliament of Ghana will consider the person.
Okay, so we'll wait and hear that.
Must be a person.
Maybe by our next interview you can tell us who it will be.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
I think all of them.
Let's get back to Parliament.
All of them are fit and qualified.
All those there now?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus those outside.
I see. Plus all the senior members of the bar who have done 20 years. 15.
Qualified to be on the Supreme Court.
15 years at the bar. So all those who have done 15 years at the bar should start praying.
Well.
Okay.
A song in my spirit. Head of that church triumphant. You know that song?
I know.
Please. We joyfully adore thee. And then it goes on. Precisely. Continue. You have to play it in your radio stations. Head of thy church triumphant, we joyfully adore thee. And I said to you that they will lay traps, but all the traps I'll flee from them. And indeed, only righteousness will prevail. I'm conducting the matter. I'm still conducting the trial. The most important point today is that all the applications filed by the applicants have been dismissed in their entirety. All the 5 applications have failed. And I think that in reaction to this, I would say that clearly shows as a group of people in this country who ride on manipulation of facts, distortion and deception of the public. They're always seeking to mislead and deceive the public. Today they've been exposed. That is what I say. I leave the rest to my friends. A song in my spirit. Head of that church triumphant. You know that song? I know. Please. We joyfully adore thee. And then it goes on. Precisely. Continue. You have to play it in your radio stations. Head of thy church triumphant, we joyfully adore thee. And I said to you that they will lay traps, but all the traps I'll flee from them. And indeed, only righteousness will prevail. I'm conducting the matter. I'm still conducting the trial. The most important point today is that all the applications filed by the applicants have been dismissed in their entirety. All the 5 applications have failed. And I think that in reaction to this, I would say that clearly shows as a group of people in this country who ride on manipulation of facts, distortion and deception of the public. They're always seeking to mislead and deceive the public. Today they've been exposed. That is what I say.
Welcome to the show, and sorry for the late start. Today is a great day, isn't it? Black Stars win 2-1 in Mali. That's our first story. But have a look at this. The judge said, can you put it on the TV so they can see it clearly? Then I can talk. I can go through with them. Here they can see it. Yeah, so that's better. Thank you. The judge said, I have listened to the audio 10 times. Attorney General did not tell Jakpa to implicate Ato Forson. Please call me Johnson Asedun Katia. Please call him for me. Call him for me. Please tell Asedun Katia that the learned trial judge is vehemently disagreeing with his view of the matter. Asedun Katia said in the press conference at which they played a tape that the Attorney General was heard on the tape telling Jakpa to help him to implicate Ato Forson. The judge, I don't know how many times Asedun Katia listened to the tape anyway. But the judge who listened to the tape, she said she listened to the tape 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And in all the episodes of tape listening that she subjected herself to, she did not hear the Attorney General tell Jakpa, the third accused, to implicate Ato Forson, the first accused. So this is Jakpa here, and that's Sami Gyamfi over there. And they are listening. A lot of that coming up tonight, of course. Lawyer Bafo is in the studio. He'll be telling us from the legal perspective, what do these things mean in terms of what the judge said? And then we can engage with that. So we bring you the accurate information. We don't want to be doing what the propagandists do, where they say something or they hear something and come and say something else. So this is what the judge said. After 10 times of listening to the tape, he did not hear Ato Forson say, Attorney General say that, Jakpa, please help me implicate Ato Forson. It was rather Jakpa who said that. You are asking me to implicate when, in fact, he had not been asked. The judge said a lot more. And tonight we'll show you everything on the touch screen, bullet by bullet, of what the judge said and go to the interview. But now, we have the Black Stars who have beaten Mali by 2-1. The game started on a horrendous note. Andy, come in and help us understand this. Okay, so you can change this. Let's get what Andy wants, and then we deal with it accordingly. Is that what you want? I see European players. What's this?
Yeah, so we'll touch on it later on, but forget about it.
So what's your impression of the game? I was watching the game on GTV. At halftime, the panelists were very angry.
Yes.
It
was the lack of a creative engine in the first half.
So, but Partey was there. Kudus was there. What happened?
So we started with a 3-4-3 formation. You understand? It wasn't your normal 4-2-3-1 with a number 10. So Kudus was playing on the left. Nyama, the first goal scorer, was playing on the right. And then Semenyo, who normally attacks from the wings, was playing as Arrowhead. We didn't have any striker in the match. So it was just, the midfield was just Salas and also Partey.
Jordan was on the bench.
Wasn't on the bench.
Okay, so that's what stifled our game.
Yes.
So creativity was lacking.
And we're playing 5 defenders. So 3 back, 3 centre backs, and then 2 laterals. That's Tariq and also Gideon Mensah. So at the start, it was just defense galore. We're trying to,
What did Otto go into the game hoping not to concede early? Is that what he was trying to do?
That was the thinking, because Mali are good at that. Their last 4 matches at home, they have scored in the 20th minute. So they're very good in that. He didn't want to
concede an early goal.
Yes.
But eventually he did.
It was a freak of a goal. The goal happened on the 45th minute. The player played the ball. It ricocheted off, that's Jikud, our centre back, came back to the player and ricocheted off onto the pool. So it was a freak of a goal. It wasn't like a created goal.
There was a very good save by
Atizigi, in the 17th minute.
Very good one. Very good one.
He saved us in the first, I think, 3 saves. He's a very good goalkeeper.
He's gradually becoming the owner of the number 1 share.
Yeah. And then the landlord, that's Ayew. Jordan Ayew in the 94th minute, scoring a very beautiful goal. And
wow, I didn't see that goal. As I was getting ready, I just heard the shouts on the streets, and I knew that we had scored, and I heard Jordan's name.
Yes.
So he's justified his inclusion of sorts.
Oh yes.
Did the team miss the Ayew?
A bit, yes. We needed a spark, the creativity. Even if he was in the match, Kudus could have still played the wings.
But did Kudus shift in the middle eventually?
He tried coming into the midfield, but it was still not helping.
Did he have a bad day, Mohamed Kudus?
Yes.
Did Thomas Partey have a bad day?
They all had a bad day until the second half, when things changed a bit and then they started playing very, very well. He orchestrated the pass for Salas, that's the DM, to cross for the first goal, Nyama to score the goal. So the second half, from this 55th minutes, that's when the boys started coming into the game. We had several chances in the last minutes, like almost 5 chances. Partey had the goalkeeper, and he missed it. He was trying to lob over the goalkeeper. He was thinking he was Arsenal. But like, yes.
But you went over the bar?
No, the goalkeeper grabbed it. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So
if they start the next game like they ended this game, we're good.
We are good. And then with our group, we are a group of 6. So let's break down everything. Africa now will be taking 9 contestants instead of 5. They have increased the number from 32 to 48 because we are going to play in Mexico, US, and also Canada. So now 9 from Africa. And then they're playing 9 groups of 6. So we're playing 10 matches overall. We have played 3 matches now.
And we have played 3 already?
Yes.
World Cup?
Yes.
I don't believe that.
3 qualifiers already.
This is a 3rd game? Did we win the first 2?
We lost 1 against Comoros, and then we won 1 against, that was Chad. So...
so everyone has played 3 games?
Except for Comoros, who is first. Comoros has 6 points, but with a better goal difference. They will play tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Madagascar. So they'll be going away. I see.
Is Mali ahead of us?
No, Mali has 4 points behind us.
After beating them today?
Yes.
So we have how many? 6?
6, yeah.
And the next is... So Comoros are competitor?
Yes. So
and
Comoros,
we have a game against them
No. Against Madagascar. Madagascar is on
Monday.
Have
we played Comoros?
We played them. That was the last, before this match. We went away and they scored us 1-0.
Okay, so they'll be coming to Accra.
Yes, they will come soon.
So we owe them. They owe us 3 points.
Oh yes, they owe us.
As well. Okay, so that's better.
Yes.
Okay, so Mali now have 4 points.
4 points.
They won. How many games have they played? 3.
3. Yes. So they won 1 and then they drew 1. So Central African Republic also has 4 points. The group is very tough. Very, very tough.
And
then,
we are playing Central African Republic on Sunday.
Yeah, on Monday, yeah.
Monday. So if we were to win, we have 9 points.
9 points, yes.
And then we are coasting quietly. We top the group, we are in the World Cup.
Yes.
I see.
There's no playoffs like the way we had to go and play
All
against
right.
Nigeria.
So just top the group and
Just
you're
top the
there.
group.
So it's not too complicated.
Yes, no, forget about this. This is Mbappe. Before that, let's look at Jordan Ayew. Jordan Ayew, his inclusion, he came in the 85th minute and he had to justify his inclusion. Now, Ghanaians will be pushing for him to start because we lack an arrowhead.
But is he a classic arrowhead?
Not really, but Crystal Palace, so this season...
He doesn't do arrowhead there.
He doesn't really do
striker of sorts.
Yeah, kind of. But in Ghana, he does everything for us. He plays our corners, our penalties. He strikes sometimes. He's a very versatile player. That's why I like him. Very versatile.
He's
player.
30 years old?
Yes, 30. Yeah. 30. And also Nyama, yes, the Lyon winger. He scored the very first goal. A very beautiful bullet header crossed to him. I was even shocked he headed the ball because he's not the type that heads balls.
Okay.
But when the ball came, he had to head it.
Who gave the assist?
And that was Salis, the DM. Yes.
I see.
Yes, a very, very good goal. And this was a starting lineup, the 3-back.
I saw Tariq Lamptey do a dash in the first half. Sometime in the first half, he did what he does for Brighton.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very impressive.
Because
I didn't see him do it again, even though I didn't watch the whole game.
Yes.
What
I
happened?
think they did it to accommodate him because he plays in a 3-back formation at Brighton and he excels really, really well. So he was doing that in the first half, but in the second half, I don't know why he changed. He wasn't going. He was being a bit cautious. I think when he went forward in the first half, it was leaving gaps at the back. So I think it was a tactical tweak from the coach to let him stay behind a bit. But it was a very, very good.
But is he a player that you put in for defensive work? You put him in for additional attacking support?
Yes, that's why the coach set up in a 3-back formation so that he'll be going and coming, a lateral, going and coming. He has the heart to do that. He can do that for 120 minutes. That's him. And then Gideon Mensah also can do that, also the same.
So on both flanks, we should be very good.
Very, very good.
Comparable to Nigeria, comparable to Cote d'Ivoire.
If you have to, if you master this formation very, very well, not a lot of African
the
countries.
set of players are quite impressive. Thomas
Very
Partey
good.
is a bit old, but it's okay.
The average age is
Mohamed
25.
Kudus is good.
The average is 25.
Okay,
So
that's
they're
not
very
bad.
young.
That's not bad at all.
For an African team, it's a very young team. Antoine Semenyo is just 25 years. Salis is also 26 years. They're all young. Kudus is just 23 years. So these guys, and he is just 21. Very, very young players. You understand? So we have a very bright future. And then funny enough, the Dutch national team has 3, they played today against Canada. And they won 4-3 Ghanaians, Frimpong, Brobbey, and also Memphis Depay.
Oh, they are following the French example.
Oh yes, and then even Wijnaldum's dad is from Cape Coast. Yes.
Wijnaldum, the one who used to play for Liverpool?
Yes, his dad is from Cape Coast.
Oh, he's a Ghanaian?
Yes, he's a Ghanaian. So funny enough, all these guys are Ghanaians and they will play in the Euros. So Ghana won twice today, funny enough. And let's touch on, before we finish, let's touch on Samatex. The team from Western region have won the Ghana Premier League. Shockingly.
Oh.
Only in their second season in the
The Premier
Ghana.
League is over.
No, but they've already won it with 3 games.
So is House of Folk still in?
Hartlepool is 12th, and they need to win against Oli on Sunday, which will be very difficult.
They have to win.
They have to win.
If they don't win, they've gone to relegation.
Their last match, it will surely take them into relegation. They have to win.
I don't know,
those
say
matches.
that again. If House don't beat Olympics on
Yes,
Sunday,
yes.
Glorious Accra
They'll
House
be
of Folk
taken
is
to
going to
relegation.
relegation.
Yes, they'll
Have
be
you
taken
told
to
Togbe Afede that? Or he knows?
He's thinking, I'm sure right now he's the
Where's Odote? Where is
They're all around. They are working around the clock. They have to do something on Sunday. They have not won
Where's
against.
Neil Armstrong?
They're all around. They have not won against Olympics
Hey.
in the last 6 matches. They
I
have
thought
to
it was
win.
a joke when I heard that.
No.
It's a serious matter.
Even Kotoko has 43 points. House has just 41 points. Both of them can still go on relegation if they lose their last 2 matches.
I was hearing that on the radio in the morning when you are
So
coming
it's
to work
serious.
and the radio, the sports people are. I thought they were joking.
It's serious. Our 2
House
biggest
of
clubs.
Folk can go to relegation on Sunday.
Yes.
But if Olympics lose, do they also go to relegation?
They will go to relegation.
Oh, but Olympics are used to relegation. They've been going and
No,
coming.
but
Hearts cannot go
Hearts
to
has not
relegation.
beaten them for the last 6 matches. So the
No,
players will be buoyed
I'll
to
be
score
at
Hearts.
the Sports Stadium. I need a Hearts.
On
This
Sunday.
one there's Harrows.
Yes,
Olympics
yes.
should go, please.
Oh, yes, yes,
They've been going. It's fine. But Hearts
You
cannot go
can't
on relegation.
fathom Hearts being in
At all. Hearts have not gone in relegation now in 119 years.
This will be the first time.
But it shouldn't happen.
It's bad management.
But what's the problem? What's happening at
so
Hearts of Oak?
it's a technical problem. Since they sacked their coach in 2021, the one that won
that
the
was
league
a
with them,
big one. That coach
Samuel
was so
Boadu,
good.
that was it.
It was so good.
It's like Chelsea sacking Thomas Tuchel. It kills everything. It
But
kills
whose
everything.
decision was it to sack Boadu?
It was some of the board members, Odote, and then even Dr. Yahu Tamakulu. They came around. They said the coach.
Yes, Dr. Tamakulu. Does he know that House of Folk are about to go to relegation? What is he saying about it?
Just kept mute. They're just waiting for Sunday. And then talking about sacking, your man has still not been sacked. So let's look at it. First 15 league games. Pep Guardiola, 112 points. And then Eric Ten Hag, 96 points. It shows you, when we sack him right now, what are we doing? A coach that has sent us to 3 finals in 2 years, won 2 trophies.
They should sack him. You see, he doesn't have human relations.
So who are you thinking to?
It's very, very important. At the top level,
yeah.
Alex Ferguson is not Pep Guardiola is a great coach. And I was arguing with somebody today. I think Pep Guardiola is a better trainer than Alex Ferguson. Okay. But Alex Ferguson has the human management, and that's why he was winning. Okay. You just have to pick good players. Pep Guardiola is also able to do that. Pick good. I think Eric Ten Hag is able to do that too. Garnacho and Kobe Mainoo are an example that he's able to pick good players. So he doesn't have a problem in that department. Yeah. You pick good players, and then you manage them well. Look at Chicharito. How great is he? But Alex Ferguson encouraged him to do great things. Gary Neville.
John
O'Shea, Neville, they are all average players. Gary Neville, Phil Neville, they're average players. Scholes is not an average player. Beckham is not an average player. But Beckham was nurtured by Ferguson to become who he is. Of course, Ronaldo is not an average player at all. He's great. Rooney is not an average player. But Alex Ferguson managed them. At that level, you have to manage the players. And that's what I have against Arteta. When Aubameyang said that Arteta cannot manage big-name players. And that's Arsenal's problem. They don't have big-name players. They have young boys who are great.
Odegaard, Saka.
They don't win trophy. Trophy is Kevin De Bruyne. They win the trophy. Haaland. And they have Saka with them. But if you are going to rely on Saka to win you a trophy, it's going to be very difficult. That's why I think Ten Hag, not because he's a bad coach, until he learns how to manage. He didn't have to have the problem with Jordan Sancho. It was needless. Completely needless. You don't talk about a player and say that he is not training well. You tell the media that. That's awful. You shouldn't do that.
So
that's what got Marcus Rashford's season going bad. Because that's his partner. Jordan Sancho is his partner. They play together. He couldn't handle Jesse Lingard. There's no reason why Jesse Lingard should be out of Manchester United. He couldn't handle Cristiano Ronaldo. What's that? He should go. Thomas Tuchel should come.
Okay. Let's talk about. Let's finish with Mbappe. So Mbappe has moved to Real Madrid, and let's look at Real Madrid are building for the future. This man here,
Real Madrid, they are like the team that Kwame Nkrumah created. They're called the Real Republicans. Nkrumah took all the best players from and then set up Real Republicans. So Reverend Osei Kofi and co. They all left us to play for Republicans. I wasn't born there, but of course I read the story. So that's what they are doing.
The ages,
but Vinicius Junior should leave and come to Manchester United. He just come because the Old Trafford grass. The Old Trafford grass, he can run on it.
Oh yes,
and then he can score. He should leave.
Yeah, Bellingham is 20, 21, 23.
Bellingham should stay at Real Madrid. Yes, I think so. He should do another 5 seasons there and become the Ballon d'Or, and then he can come back and play for Tottenham or something like that.
So Mbappe has signed for Real Madrid 5 years deal, and he'll be taking 100 million signing on fee. Signing on fee. He went for free.
Of euro?
Yes, euros.
I went for free, yeah.
So he'll be taking 100 million free. Football pays. Football really pays. And this was Ronaldo. He went to the Madrid training ground in 2012, and he had Ronaldo's pictures in his room all the time. And he also played Ronaldo at the last Euros, and he idolizes Ronaldo so much. So I'm very, very happy for him that he has made this move. And then,
but should Real Madrid win the Champions League again next season? I was listening to the commentary before the Champions League game. I was telling a friend of mine, there's something that I didn't like. It's like, I don't know whether it's Ghanaian. People wanted Dortmund to win because Real Madrid have won it too many times. I don't understand that. Let Real Madrid win it as many as they can, and let's all aspire to be like Real Madrid. This Ghanaian thing that they want too much, so they should come down to our level. It's a canker that we need to deal with. If they are winning because they are good. Nobody is giving it to them. They are scoring the goals. And much as we all wish, or many people wish that Dortmund will win. See what happened. Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Junior, they finished them off. Dortmund can have the ball, as Mourinho said, you can keep the ball and keep the trophy. So this attitude of Real Madrid have won it too much. Real Madrid and Manchester United are hated in equal measure because they are successful. That's Ghanaian spirit. That hates successful people. You
see, because Real Madrid has 15 now. They had 14 before. They feel like the closest to Real Madrid is AC Milan. AC Milan has 7. So they feel like, Dortmund has to win so that at least...
No. Real Madrid should have 30. And then we should all aspire to be like Real Madrid. And let's move on like that. After all, Arsenal has only 13 or something Premier League. Manchester United has 20. So what does it mean? Arsenal should catch up. United should keep going. And everybody, let's all go up. So Real Madrid should go up. AC Milan should get 10. Manchester United should get 5. Arsenal should get their first one. They don't have one yet, do they? Chelsea have 2 already.
Yeah,
they should
Man
go
City
up.
has 1.
Man City has only 1? Oh, I see. Manchester City? Only 1 Champions League?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Man City just a Latter-day Saint.
But they beat the final twice or something like that. But Liverpool have been in the final the most, isn't it?
No.
In England.
In England, yes.
Liverpool have been in the final the most.
So Nottingham Forest has won 2 as usual.
2?
Yeah. Liverpool has won 6. As the Liverpool fans are making
Liverpool
noise.
is 6. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Arsenal 0.
0.
Tottenham 0.
Aston Villa 1.
Aston Villa.
Yeah,
oh, I
82.
see.
Yeah,
that's,
in 82.
that's a good one.
Yeah, and even Ipswich have won the Europa League in 83. So
that's
Ipswich
Europa.
has a European trophy. Arsenal has no
doesn't
European
have.
trophy.
Oh.
Understand? So we'll use that agenda against them next season.
Wow. Okay.
Yes,
we'll talk again. So that's for sports.
Yes,
Thank you very much, Andy. It's soon to be 10 o'clock. Let's take a break. When we come back, it's courtroom time. And also, today, where's the mirror? Who's going to get a mirror for me? Fatih, can you walk? Yeah, please take the mirror for me. Let me show viewers something. I said the mirror. I mean the daily graphic. It's on my table. Let her bring it. The daily graphic. Yeah, Fatih is going to bring me the daily graphic. So tonight is the other topic apart from the law. We have. Thank you. We have the daily graphic said Dr. Bawumia is the preferred candidate. Yes, here. Thank you very much. 2024 elections. Dr. Bawumia preferred candidate. NDC is the most popular party. 23.1 still undecided in the poll that was conducted. I would like to say something about what they mean or why it is so, because I've read the details of the research. Dr. Bawumia is the most preferred candidate, but NDC is more popular than MPP going into 2024's election. 23.1 undecided, 6 months to go for the big day, 7th December 2024. After the break, Lawyer Balfour is here. We'll tell you what happened in court, and then we will let Balfour explain to us in some detail how do the lawyers want us to understand this. We'll be right back after the break. Okay, as we get ready for the legal discussion, let's take your text messages on what we've been doing so far, which is sports, isn't it? What are people saying?
Okay, so Patrick Atubara is saying, well done, Ghana Black Stars, for your victory today. We have from A4 saying, the day Ayew is too old to be playing Ghana Black Stars. He should allow the young players to flourish. We have from Mahama Adams, Ghana will make it, inshallah, it is possible. Lastly, from Mohammed, at least, let's appreciate my homeboy Fatawu for the run he made inside their 18-yard to facilitate Jordan's win. Thank you.
Okay, so coming from he says, how can you win without the Ayew brothers? And also coming from F4, he says the day Ayew did not play, so they will win and win and win. And lastly, from Kojo, he says, with all respect, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, as a former Attorney General and legal luminary, I think Godfred Yeboah-Dame is the best AG Ghana has ever had since 1992. What do you have for us, Fatih?
All right. So this is coming from Nana Ocho, and he says, I still don't understand why Richard Ofori touched that ball. Also coming from Perry Dark, he says, good evening, Paul. Black Stars has made us proud on the road to the World Cup qualifications. Keep up your great work, and thanks to your team. And then lastly, coming from Nana Ekwemo, he says, Atufosam will never escape justice. He will pay for the financial crimes committed under John Dramani Mahama. Now back to you, Paul.
Okay, we are back. All right, so we are now for the legal discussion. And what happened in court today? The judge ruled on all the three applications that were brought, and then she also talked about what she has seen in court. So those of you who are just joining us, you know the trial. Okay, yes, I've already showed you what she said about listening to the tape 10 times. Let's get to the matter now. So there was an order to restrain the prosecution from any further prosecution in the instant matter. So the accused persons, Kaysel Atuforsen, first accused, and Richard Jakpa, third accused. People are asking, where's the second accused? What happens to the second accused? An important part of the story. The second accused, I believe, was a chief director or so of the Ministry of Health or something like that. Now, the Attorney General has exercised his discretion to release the second accused from the trial because of ill health. So that's very, very important. When the trial started, the Attorney General decided that the man is unwell. He's going on he's unwell, generally unwell. So he decided that he's out of the matter. That's an attorney general with a good heart. He's prosecuting him, but he thinks that his health will not support the prosecution. So it's okay. Let him go. He could have decided to bring the man and be prosecuting him every day, and he's going to hospital, and he could have done that. And he would have been with the law in doing so. But he exercised his discretion to decide that. So that's why there's first accused and third accused. There's no second accused. Now, so the two accused persons currently, the first accused, Minority Leader Ato Forson, and the third accused, Mr. Richard Jakpa, the recorder of the leader of the bar, illegal recording. He conducted the illegal recording of the leader of the bar. Now, the two of them said that as a result of the evidence that they have gathered on the tape or the recording, they wanted the High Court to restrain the Attorney General and the prosecution from conducting the business of prosecuting them. The Attorney General, of course, opposed the application and said that they're only running away from prosecution and that there's no basis in law for the judge to do so, because in doing so, the judge will be restraining a constitutional responsibility, and she has no power so to do. The Constitution is the most fundamental law of the land, and that nobody can restrain an authority granted under the Constitution from doing their work, whether it's Electoral Commission, whether it's an Attorney General, whether it's a President or a Speaker of Parliament. Nobody should be seen to be restraining constitutionally appointed bodies from exercising the authority given them under the 1992 Constitution. So that was Attorney General's word in opposition to the application that they made. The first one, that the order that the prosecution be restrained. This is what the judge said. The law, she said, is widely known that injuncting statutory bodies in the performance of their lawful duties should, if at all, be sparingly done. It has been held that the court ought to be cautious in dealing with applications for injunctions when a body is entrusted with statutory discretion and not dog its exercise with injunctions. Okay. In the circumstances of this case, she says, I find no exceptional circumstances in the application to injunct the Attorney General and his office from performing their statutory duty at this late stage of the trial, especially when the court has ordered Ato Forson to open his defense, which he has done. The application for injunction is accordingly refused on that score. So the judge said that you cannot come to court and say that because of some tape, she should restrict a constitutional body from doing their work, especially, and she made the point, especially at this stage where Ato Forson has made a submission of no case. In making the submission of no case, he didn't bring all these matters up, but he made a submission of no case, and the court took the view that a case has been made against him and that he must answer the case that has been made against him. I think that this is quite straightforward. So that injunction application failed. Next, they were also seeking an order to stay the proceedings in the instance proceedings. Okay, they wanted also that because of what has happened, because of what the same thing, the tape, what the contents of the tape, the matters that are on the tape, the discussions that occurred on the tape that they gave to the General Secretary, the chairman of their party, Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, to play it out loud. They wanted those things on the tape as a reason for that the proceedings in the a criminal trial be stayed. That means stop the proceedings. Again, the Attorney General opposed and said that case Ato Forson, the minority leader, and former Lieutenant Jakpa, formerly of the Ghana Armed Forces, are trying to avoid prosecution. They are running away from answering the questions that the prosecution have asked them, which the court has held that they need to answer. In declining their submission of no case, the court was telling them that you actually need to answer the questions that the Attorney General has brought. The Attorney General is saying that because the court said they should answer and they still don't want to answer because maybe they don't have an answer, they are bringing this instant application so that they will not answer the question of how they have dealt with the Ghanaian people's resources that was given to them during the presidency of John Dramani Mahama. This is what the judge said. She said, I hold that there are no exceptional circumstances to merit the grant of a stay of proceedings pending the appeal at this late stage of the trial. So that was the second one. Yes, so these were the applications that the judge ruled on. So on all the applications that came through, all the applications that came through. Oh no, I should have started with this, isn't it? Ato Forson has asked the court for three things: an order for mistrial that failed, an order of injunction to restrain the prosecution from any further prosecution of the instant criminal that also failed, an order for stay of proceedings failed. Okay, yes. So there are three applications. She wanted an order for mistrial. That one, the judge said that she can't find anything in the law to be able to grant that application. In fact, she said that it is an application that doesn't happen in summary trial. That was very, very important. She was actually telling the lawyers of Atuforsen that you probably haven't done the work well. You haven't done your research well. Because the application that you are looking for mistrial, it only happens in summary in the jury trial. This is a summary trial. It doesn't apply. I was surprised to see that. I said, but if you are going to court, I thought that people will be prepared. But anyway, that's what the judge said, that she was surprised that they are bringing this application in a trial that is a summary trial, that this application happens at the jury trial. That's where it happens. Viewers, I'm sure you know what the jury trial is, the one that they take some of us to sit there and say that they will give us a question and then we look at it and we determine whether the man is guilty or not. The judge is reminding the lawyers of Atuforsen that this mistrial application, you can only bring it when there is a jury. That's when you do that. You don't do that in a summary trial. So she completely dismissed the mistrial. And then she came to the order of injunction, which I've already showed you. She dismissed that as well. And then she came to the order of the stay of proceedings, also completely dismissed. Now, I'll go to the other one, which is about the tape. What did she say about the tape? Let's have a look at it. So we are going back to the first from the beginning, Dennis. Yeah. All right. I said I should move on. It will come. Okay. No, this is an order for mistrial. So this is the judge talking about the mistrial. And this is it. It said, after having listened to the conversation between Richard Jakpa and the AG, the issue of whether the Attorney General actually told Jakpa to implicate Atuforsen is not borne out of the evidence. So now we are on the tape, viewers. We're on the tape. She's now talking about, in coming to the mistrial conclusion that mistrial doesn't apply, she's now telling us about the tape. She says she's listened to the tape 10 times. Okay, so here it is. He said, after having listened to the tape, listened to the conversation between Richard Jakpa and the Attorney General, the issue whether the Attorney General actually told Jakpa to implicate Atuforsen is not borne out by the evidence on Exhibit CAF. That's the tape. Those words were uttered by Richard Jakpa at about 9 minutes to 10 minutes, 009 to 10:00 on the tape. She continues. In the same vein, the declaration that Atuforsen was innocent and going through ordeal, but was being asked to help make the case of AG better, was not made by the Attorney General, but was made by Jakpa, to which the Attorney General responded at minute 10:20, I am not asking you to help me, unquote. I think we did that in the studio. Anybody who listened to the tape will hear it. That's where we exposed Johnson Asiedu Nkate's what we call quote-unquote dishonesty, because when the Attorney General said, if you follow the theory of the case, and then Asiedu Nkatea said Attorney General is asking for a deal, when the Attorney General didn't use the word deal, we already exposed that, didn't we? And then the judge is saying it, that Attorney General said, and we made the point, he said that, he said that categorically, I am not asking you to help me make my case. Because Jakpa, because he knew that he was recording, kept taunting the Attorney General that, you want me to help you make your case? And then he responded and said, thank God he did respond. Because he could have ignored the comment, and it would have thrown some doubt in people's minds. But he was able to respond, and he said that, I am not asking you to help you to make my case. The judge refers to that. He says that, the Attorney General responded at minute 10:20. I am not asking you to help me to make my case. At minute 10:30, the statement made that you've been meeting me at my cousin's place at minute 10:45, etc. When studied closely, together with Jakpa's alleged attack of conscience, did not proceed from the mouth of the Attorney General. So the judge is saying that Attorney General said, I'm not helping you. I don't need to help you make my case. These things that Jakpa said, including saying that I've been meeting you at my cousin's house, that's Justice Kulendi's house. Justice Kulendi and Mr. Jakpa are cousins, and that's where they met several times before the phone conversation. So he made the point. It was Jakpa who told us in the tape that it's Justice Kulendi's house that they were meeting, and the judge refers to that. He says at my cousin's place, and he says that all of those things that they allege, it didn't come from the Attorney General. All of what came from him was that I am not asking you to help me make my case. Okay, all right. What might cause some discomfort, she says, is the fact of having the discussion in the first place. That is an interesting point that the judge raised, and we are going to deal with it. He says, what might cause discomfort is the fact of having the conversation in the first place. Now, who do we lay this matter on? As far as I'm concerned, if there's a blame,
or if we have to attribute the circumstances can only be attributed to the relationship between Justice Yoni Kulendi and Godfrey Diebo Adame, the Attorney General. It was as a result of that relationship, the collateral damage from the good relationship that Godfrey Dame has with Yoni Kulendi is what the judge is referring to. The judge says that what might cause some discomfort is the fact of having the discussion in the first place, and that is kind of true. But the discussion was had in the first place because two men, one looking up to each other, to the other as a mentor. The Attorney General looks up to Justice Kulendi as a mentor. As a result of that, and as a result of Justice Kulendi's family interest in Richard Jakpa because it's his cousin, the Attorney General succumbed to meeting Richard Jakpa and creating a familiarity with him. It is on that basis. Without the Attorney General, the Justice of the Supreme Court coming in, Justice Kulendi coming in, Attorney General will never speak to Richard Jakpa. In fact, if we publish the text again, the one that the NDC obscured, they didn't show it. It was Richard Jakpa who sent the Attorney General text and said that, my name is Jakpa. I am the one that you have helped to secure bail. I am a cousin to the judge and that I would like to see you. And the Attorney General says that, yes, I will contact you through. In fact, he even refused to confirm the meeting on the text. He said, hold on, I will contact you through your brother. So the judge has a right to raise this matter. And we have a responsibility to explain to our viewers why this causes discomfort for the judge. It will cause discomfort, but the discomfort has been occasioned as a result of a trust relationship. I don't know whether we should all be careful about the relationship that we trust going forward. I don't know whether many lawyers are going to be concerned about the relationship of trust, because in the legal fraternity and in terms of prosecuting and law, lawyers have relationships, and that's why you see two lawyers argue in a case, and for laymen, they think that they hate each other. Bafo will be explaining some of these things to us in a minute. They go out in the court and they say, Charlie, but you, why do you talk like that? I say, but you didn't understand the thing. He say, listen, we want to settle. So my client wants to settle. So, and you see the lawyers talking under a tree, and the clients look at them and say, hey, lawyer for Nipa Boni, that's why they will go to hell. They are not Nipa Boni. Lawyers are negotiators, and they understand the essence of humanity. They understand it. Even though you might think they don't, they clearly understand it. That is why a counsel can walk to a judge and say, my lord, I need you to adjourn this thing. I'm not feeling too well today. The guy will say, oh, you think so? Call the other lawyer. The other lawyer comes. They were fighting 1 minute ago. He said, what is happening? He said, oh, Paul says he wants to adjourn. He's not well. So ask for him every day. He's not well. What's wrong with you? He says, oh, I don't have my head. He said, oh, your head is paining you. I have paracetamol in my car. You will see the opposite lawyer go and take paracetamol and give it to the other lawyer. And they were fighting 1 minute ago. That is not the reason why they will go to hell. That is how their work is. So because the Attorney General sees Justice Kulendi as his mentor, and so he goes to Justice Kulendi's house all the time. If Jakpa comes and Jakpa says, oh, I'm Justice Kulendi's brother. Say, oh, you're Kulendi's brother. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Let me see what I can do. Let's meet in Kulendi's house. So they meet there and says that, listen, Mr. Jakpa, you need to follow the theory of the case. The theory of the case is that the documents that you have, Seabed, whatever his company is called, that document is not part of the documents that went to Parliament. So that the deal that Parliament approved did not include your company. Somebody smuggled your company into it. And you will need to admit that before the court. And then he says, I cannot admit that. He says, well, if you cannot admit that, forget about it, because that's the fact of the matter. It's verifiable, it's provable, and all these things is happening in front of the Supreme Court judge. And that is why Godfrey Dame opened up to him. So after meeting him several times in the Supreme Court judge's house, he places a call to Godfrey Dame, and he'll pick up and say, oh, that's Jakpa. He'll pick up and say, hey, Master, how are you? It's Attorney General, please, tomorrow is called to say, yeah, tomorrow I'll be there. And then they start talking. So it is okay for the judge to raise this matter. But it is now an opportunity for Godfrey Dame and his team, if they want to answer this question, to demonstrate why they will do that. And the judge will accept it because she's also a lawyer, she also has relationships, and she knows how these things build up. So that's the part. It says what might cause some discomfort is the fact of having the discussion in the first place on live matters before the court, and the fact of the Attorney General having asked Jakpa to seek medical excuse at the 14th to 15th minutes so as to be absent from court. Be that as it may, she says, the matters alluded to in the conversation and the fact of it, with the Attorney General being a lawyer, are matters which do not fall within the remit of the criminal proceedings and the duty of this court. Beautiful. So Godfrey Dame and Richard Jakpa's lawyers now have the opportunity to appear before the General Legal Counsel, and Godfrey Dame will say that I spoke to him. Yes, I did. Because I had met him on the platform of Justice Yoni Kulendi, whom you all know and whom you all respect. How many of you in this room in the General Legal Counsel will Justice Kulendi place a call and say that Jakpa is my cousin, can you come to my house, let's understand his case? How many of you will decline that invitation? If I were Godfrey Dame, that's what I'll tell the General Legal Counsel. How many of you would decline that invitation? If the high and mighty Yoni Kulendi, Justice of the Supreme Court, calls you the prosecutor, you are already his mentee for many, many years. Not because he's Supreme Court judge and you are Attorney General. You are his mentee before he became Supreme Court judge. You are his mentee before you became Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General for that matter. And then now you're Attorney General, you're Deputy Attorney General, you become Deputy Attorney General. Now he calls you and says, Attorney General, please come and let's discuss this matter. Why would you decline such an invitation? So yes, the judge says that that matter is in the domain of the General Legal Counsel. It says it falls under the ambit of the Legal Profession Act, which makes the General Legal Counsel the body responsible for dealing with these matters. Okay, she continues. After having listened to the recording, the question to be asked is there actual evidence that the Attorney General, as the prosecutor, has shown to have behaved in such an egregious manner that the Atuforson's right to a fair trial has been in jeopardy? She answers the question. The conversation before the court in Exhibit CAF2 took place in the last few weeks or months, long after the court had made a determination on the prima facie evidence that all the accused persons had a case to answer, and that Atuforson had even mounted a spirited defense and closed his case. Jakpa is yet to conclude his evidence because there were issues with filing of his witness statement and case management, as is borne out by the record. In the circumstances, his lordship says, and having in mind the issues at stake in the trial, being ambulances that all parties acknowledge are of no use in the condition that they were delivered, the circumstances and the justification of which is the subject of the instant trial, and how far this case has traveled before the conversation that sparked these applications came to be, I should think not. She's answering the question, given the circumstances, her duty as a judge is to check whether this tape conversation, whether they are alleging the words used by the Attorney General or the conduct of it as a whole, whether this matter has put Atuforson's fair trial, the fairness of the trial, which is a constitutional obligation imposed by the court and indeed imposed on the Attorney General as well, that every Ghanaian should have the right to fair trial. That's a duty imposed by the Constitution, and it's imposed on the court and it's imposed on the Attorney General. The judge is evaluating the evidence of the tape and trying to ventilate it and asking herself that, can these circumstances put together, can they mean that Atuforson's rights to fair trial has been jeopardized? And she answers the question in the negative. And she gives a reason why. She says that by the time the conversation took place, Atuforson has told the court that he has no case to answer. The court has told him, you have a case to answer. He has finished answering the case. He has closed the evidence. He has closed it. So that's the end of Atuforson's case. What is left next is for Atuforson to be told whether he is guilty as charged. Sorry. Sorry about that. What is left is for Atuforson to be told that he is guilty as charged. That's it. It will come again at 10:25. Okay, so that's where we are. That's what the judge said. Atuforson, you are done. Nothing can change it. Whether the Attorney General somersaults in the phone conversation or jumps up and down, or Jakpa throws the phone into the sea, or he turns it to somebody to record a tape, all of those things, it wouldn't matter because you have actually closed your case. So there's no way in which your matter can be jeopardized. Every record is before the judge, and the judge is going to rule accordingly. So, viewers, this is the circumstances of the matter. This is the end of the story. So this is where we are. So the case has resumed. Today, the cross-examination of Jakpa continued by lawyers for the first accused. All of that is going on now. All three applications were dismissed. About the tape conversation, the judge had issues with the conversation happening at all, that matter. And I have explained that matter to you. That, and she said that she's not the one to make that determination. Listening to it as a judge, she feels that, but why would the Attorney General have a conversation with somebody like that? Anyway, it's not my matter. The General Legal Counsel can deal with it. As for me, I'm dealing with the substance of the case. And the General Legal Counsel will deal with it. They are an arbitration sort of panel. And they are going to hear the real evidence. They are going to hear how many times Godfrey Dame met Jakpa in Justice Kulendi's house. What was the circumstances of the meeting? Who chaired the meeting? What conversations had at the meeting? Could these conversations have bred a certain familiarity between the Attorney General and Richard Jakpa? If it did, was it a familiarity that was free from manipulation of the case, etc., etc.? That's what they are going to look at. So maybe Godfrey Dame trusted too much and thought that Richard Jakpa was Justice Kulendi's brother, and therefore his mindset was like Justice Kulendi. That's how it works. When you know people and they tell you that this person is my person, you usually assume that they are like them. So I think that he wrongly assumed that Richard Jakpa, being Justice Kulendi's cousin, will carry the same candor, the same discipline, the same dignity that Justice Kulendi carries. That was Godfrey Dame's problem. And tomorrow morning I'll tell him, I'm going to look for him and tell him, Mr. Dame, your problem was that you thought that because Kulendi has candor, Kulendi is a decent man, Kulendi is a scholar, and so because Kulendi said this is my brother, you mistakenly thought that because he is Kulendi's brother, he too is like Kulendi. It doesn't work like that. I've learned the lesson. I'm sure other people are learning. And tomorrow morning, I'll tell him about that. Now, though, at 28 minutes past 10 o'clock, Bafo has been here with us for a long time. Let's talk to Lawyer Bafo and find out how should we understand this and how do the lawyers understand it. Were you satisfied with everything the judge said?
I think that she came to the right conclusion.
She came to the right conclusion?
Yes. Basically to say that I don't have jurisdiction to do what you're asking me to do.
What were they asking her to do? We know Mistral. What did they want her to do with the tape content?
That on the basis of the tape content, the trial is an abuse of the Attorney General's powers. Mm-hmm. And so therefore the trial should not continue. What they forgot was that on the basis of the evidence led by the Attorney General, the judge had already established that there's a prima facie case. Mm-hmm. That is, they have a case to answer. Mm-hmm. Effectively saying that unless you lead evidence, right, what has been put before me is enough to convict you.
At that stage?
At that stage.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, in the judge's ruling, she basically says that you are here saying the Attorney General asked you to bear false witness, mm-hmm. essentially, mm-hmm. against Mr. Ato Forson. Mm-hmm. But the evidence before me doesn't suggest that. There's nothing before me that shows that you have already given false testimony against Ato Forson to begin with. And secondly, even on the tape, there's nothing that shows that the Attorney General asked you to do any such thing.
Mm-hmm. And which is what they are alleging.
That is what they are alleging. Mm-hmm. So in and of itself, what you are even saying is unmeritorious. Mm-hmm. But be that as it may, I don't even have the power to do what you are asking me to do. And that is one place where I think that first, that the admission of the tape, right? I think that...
Has she admitted it?
No, she admitted it for the purposes of the determination of this application.
Okay.
So we need to draw a distinction.
So the tape, the contents of the tape is not going to form part of her ruling for the substantive matter?
No, it's not going to form part of the evidence for the substantive matter.
Okay.
But for this purpose, mm-hmm. that is the application for
the three applications.
The three applications. Yeah. The question was whether or not it should be admitted. Mm-hmm. And she came to the conclusion that it should be admitted. But I say that with the greatest of respect to her, I disagree with the reason given for the admissibility of the tape.
Why?
You see, she's basically saying that, look, when you look at Article 18, Clause 2, mm-hmm. private conversations, the law, the Constitution precludes interference or interference with a person's privacy, and mm-hmm. it includes private communication. Mm-hmm. And that has been established that, look, unless that conversation was...
Can you get me Article 18.2 and put it on the screen? Fatis is behind you on the... yeah, so you just hold it, and then if they don't have it, send it to them. Please go on, so that viewers can see it. Article 18.2.
Article 18.2.
Very important, yeah.
So basically, it precludes...
Yeah, go on.
It basically upholds privacy, mm-hmm. a person's right to privacy, and precludes, the use of recordings that were made without the knowledge and consent of the persons recorded. However, when there's an exception, the exception includes the prevention of crime and upholding of morality and public safety and so on and so forth.
Is that exception in the Constitution as well?
It's an exception in 18.2.
So when those exceptions are there, then you can use it.
You can use it.
Okay.
And the Supreme Court...
Once you are ready, she'll read it. So put her on the film and let me get her reading it, please. Yeah, please go on.
And the Supreme Court, in the case of the Republic versus Circuit Court, ex parte Kubaji, has upheld that, yes, private conversations when recorded cannot be used except in the prevention of crime and then public safety and so on and so forth. And so for the prosecution of a criminal offense, such recordings will be admissible. And so the judge is simply saying that if the prosecution had presented it, right, she would have admitted it. So when the tables have been turned and the accused persons...
The defense who are now presenting it.
The accused persons who are defense who are now presenting it, why can't she admit it? But my problem is that it was not put forward for admission in respect of the substantive matter where the accused persons are standing trial. This one, it was for an application. And in this application, the AG is not standing trial.
I get it. Okay, please, Fatih, are you ready? Let's read Article 18.2. What does it say?
Article 18 reads, no person shall be subjected to interference with the privacy of his home, property, correspondence, or communication except in accordance with law and as may be necessary in a free democratic society for public safety or the economic well-being of the country, for the protection of morals or health, for the prevention of disorder or crime, or for the protection of the rights or freedom of others.
Okay, great. But lawyer, if the people have brought an application and the application hinges on the tape, if you don't admit the tape, so you are dismissing their application without looking at the evidence they brought?
No, you see, invariably, the tape did not contribute to the judge's decision. The judge did not decide to dismiss the application because of the evidence contained on the tape.
On the mistrial, it would appear she did. Because she went in and
on
said...
On the mistrial, she basically said that no legislation gives her the power.
Yes, she said that.
No legislation gives her the power to interfere with the Attorney General's power to prosecute.
She said that. But why was she listening to it 10 times?
That is the point. That, for me, is the point. You understand? And so, one, it was no material for the determination of the application. And two, the Attorney General was not up for trial. It was not a criminal matter.
In this sense, the Attorney General is kind of up for trial because the application is against him.
But it is not a trial.
It may not be a trial, but he's the one who now has to present a defense.
But you see, the exceptions.
So you think she shouldn't have admitted the tape?
I don't think it was necessary.
But is it not better for the confidence in the justice system that she did?
Yes. It was good, for the confidence of the justice system.
Yes.
But she is, you see, when it comes to the practice of law, right, justice delivery in our country is done in accordance with set principles, right? When you look at the case of Harley versus Edra Farms, the Supreme Court said it, that the canons by which justice is delivered in our jurisdiction or dispensed in our jurisdiction is according to the constitution of the land, by way of practice, the rules of court, right, and established principles. Now, what was the basis, what was the authority by which, she decided to admit the tape? I am saying that this is a tape that squarely falls within Article 18.2 of the Constitution.
Private conversation.
Private conversation. Now, if you are going to admit it, you should come under the exception, right? And not solely because if it was offered by the accused.
Oh, I get the point you are making. That the basis of admitting the tape is not clear.
It is not
for
clear.
the purpose of precedent.
Yes, for the purpose of precedent.
Yeah.
Because,
I get you.
Paul, the Attorney General is not an accused in this matter. And so it's not as if you are admitting it for the purposes of the prevention of crime. Right? So under which of the exceptions are you coming under? Because if you say that if the prosecution had offered it, you would have admitted it. And so if the defense is also offering it, you are admitting it. Very humbly and respectfully, I think it is simplistic. It is simplistic. The reasoning there, with the greatest of respect to her, it is not a criminal trial. An application has been brought for the AG, for the case to be dismissed, right? And the question is whether or not it is material for the determination of the application. It is not. And secondly, the circumstance of the recording, it was a private conversation. Thirdly, there's an exception by which such private conversation may be admitted. You have to then show us which of the exceptions you are coming under. She didn't show us. And so I think that the reason...
But that's the end of the tape. We're not going to hear any more from the tape? From
I
what
think
you know,
that
now she's closed that
if
matter.
you move away from the mechanical side of it, which is the strictly legal sense of it, in a certain regard, I think it is also good that she admitted the tape. I mean, if you look at it from that perspective.
Yes.
Because
for the confidence in the system.
Apart from the confidence in the system, now there is some, if you like, judicial pronouncement on it. Right? A judge has expressed her opinion on the tape. She now finds that the Attorney General didn't request for the assistance of JAPA, right? And so
that is clear. She made a firm determination.
In that regard, it is good for the Attorney General. However, she also makes a pronouncement. She also gives an advice to the Attorney General, right? Which advice, in my opinion, is also problematic. And so if she had not listened to the tape, right, all the comments that have come with it wouldn't have, come up.
The advice that he should
stop
coming to court.
Exactly. The advice, and then also her opinion on what Mr. Dame is said to have done. The real forum, they would then have gone to the real forum, which is the General Legal Council, for the matter to have been properly.
But do judges give advice?
Yes, nothing stops them.
Advice?
But nothing stops them. But I think that this
published advice.
Nothing stops them. I mean, they make recommendations. The Supreme Court has on several occasions made recommendations.
Is that not in relation to consequential orders, these recommendations you talk about?
No. If you say consequential orders, then they are binding.
Okay.
Then they are binding.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court is able to, because of the kind of jurisdiction they have, the original jurisdiction is to interpret constitutional matters and also to resolve conflicts between constitutional bodies. Judiciary versus legislature versus executive. So they can make these advice.
Nothing stops a judge. Let me give you a good example. Let's say a family feud, right? Let's say a matrimonial matter.
Yes.
And then one of them is the issue of custody. And the judge has determined custody. But she thinks that there's a way things should be handled. A judge can give an advice.
But this particular advice is major.
The advice is major.
It's fundamental. And it may be politically skewed.
Apart from the potential of it being politically skewed, I think that it impacts on the ethos of the Attorney General's power in the Constitution. Because if you say that the Attorney General should not be directly involved,
if you advise so,
you are advising so. Don't forget, all prosecutions under Article 88.3 of the Constitution is under the hand of the Attorney General. And so, how does he remove himself from it?
By not showing up.
By not showing up.
Or showing up and,
so
saying, and not saying much.
So you are comfortable with the AG directing from behind, but by not showing up. Because all prosecutions are in the name of the Attorney General.
For sure.
Yes. And so that advice is problematic. That advice also presupposes that you have now believed everything on the tape. Which is why I think that if the tape had not been admitted, because it is not admissible in my view, and secondly, the forum for determining so is not in the court, and thirdly, because it does not, or it wasn't material for the judge in determination of the application before him, I think that it would have helped all of us.
Party 88.3, please. 88 is the entrenched clause on the establishment of the office of the Attorney General, and 88.3 will tell us what Lawyer Bafo is leading us to. Have you found Article 88? What's the title of 88? It should be the Attorney General. It's on the side of it. 88.
Yeah, the Attorney General.
Okay, so read the first one. There shall be an Attorney General.
88.1 reads, there shall be an Attorney General of Ghana who shall be a Minister of State and the principal legal advisor to the government.
Yes, Attorney General shall be Minister of State and the principal legal advisor to the government. 88.3, please.
So 88.3 says, the Attorney General shall be responsible for the initiation and conduct of all prosecutions of criminal offences.
Wow, that's heavy.
You understand?
Read that again. 88.3. The Attorney General shall be what?
Shall be responsible for the initiation and conduct of all prosecutions of criminal offences.
It means the judge's advice is actually unconstitutional.
Yeah, so because you see, Paul,
Initiation and conduct.
by the Attorney General.
That's detail.
By the
that
Attorney
he
General.
shall be
By the
responsible
Attorney General.
to initiate it and to conduct it.
That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
wow.
That's right.
Wow.
And so that advice is problematic, right? So that is why I think that that whole tape should not have been admitted.
But admitting it now helps her to come to the conclusion that the biggest allegation that the NDC made, or the accused persons made against the Attorney General, was that he was trying to manipulate the evidence to nail Ato Forson, and was trying to cajole the third accused. And the judge says that's
Paul,
non-existent.
let's do a small exercise here. Now, the judge came to the conclusion that from the record, the third accused had not said anything, right, against anything negative or detrimental to the interest of Mr. Ato Forson in the matter. Is that not what the judge said? From the record.
Yeah.
Now, what then that shows, right, is that the judge was able to determine the matter before her, the application before her, without listening to the tape.
It indicates so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the whole point about mistrial is that I am being influenced to testify against Mr. Ato Forson. The man who is making that allegation is done with his evidence in chief.
So there's no opportunity.
There's
actually.
no opportunity.
Even if you are being influenced at this stage, there's no opportunity to come and implement that influence.
And you
Correct.
see, that conversation predates, and per the judge's own ruling, goes beyond the time when the judge determined that he has a case to answer. Now, you have gone into the witness box and you have testified, giving your evidence in chief. The evidence in chief is your account, your personal account of events.
Yeah.
So you've gone into the witness box and testified, right? Now, you have, following that testimony, in the course of the cross-examination by Mr. Ato Forson's lawyer, there's a point that most of us are missing. The cross-examination by Mr. Ato Forson's lawyer of Japa is the same as his witness evidence in chief.
Yeah, because they're on the same side.
Exactly. Their interests
I said the same.
are the same. Now, this man, in all this, up until when, and even when, he made that ranting of the allegation that the AG called him, giving him pressure to testify against Mr. Ato Forson and so on and so forth, had not said anything against Ato Forson.
No.
And so, that allegation, right, even if true, on record, there is nothing of the sort that had happened. And so, if you are going for mistrial, why are you going for mistrial?
So that you are saying that the judge was able to come to the conclusion that mistrial does not apply without the tape.
Without the tape.
He was able to come to the conclusion of stay of proceedings without the tape.
Without the tape.
He was able to come to the conclusion of injuncting the Attorney General's
without the tape.
So why the tape?
Why the tape?
I get your point. I get it. But for us, political journalists, we are interested in knowing what the judge thinks about the tape.
I am also interested.
Yeah.
And I think that...
And she has done justice to us.
Yes.
To the general public.
Yes.
By indicating
because
that she has heard the tape.
Because there is a public interest in it.
High public interest.
But wait,
very high.
But wait. The damage, however, is that now the question is the tape gospel?
She hadn't even evaluated that.
Exactly.
She hadn't asked the Attorney General that, if that's you, did you have that conversation?
Exactly.
He hasn't been given a hearing.
Exactly.
So that's maybe unfair.
But now she's giving an advice based on that.
Yeah, I get it. Yes, that may actually be unfair. I mean, I don't know whether the Attorney General was called in chambers by the judge, and we don't know that yet. Maybe that happened.
But subject to further information, I am saying that it's unfair.
It appears unfair on the face of it.
Because now, the tape will now be sent to the appropriate forum if it becomes necessary. What happens if that forum, right, a proper scrutiny is done, and they disagree, right, or they find that they find that
it's either doctored,
and so on and so
something
forth,
like that.
and they take a different view
If
from
a
the judge.
forensic person comes to look at it, and they take a different view from the judge, as you're saying.
And don't forget, that forum will always be inferior to the High Court.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what happens? And these are the reasons why I think we should have been,
very interesting.
We should have been cautious in admitting the tape.
A very interesting analysis that you are bringing.
Sometimes
I hope you are getting text messages on some of these things. So let's get ready and read some of them. But make your final point and then read the text messages. Well, what do you have to say?
My final point is that, some people sometimes think that some of these things you don't have to defend them. But I'm always careful because of our June 4th, 31st December experience. We have to be careful as a nation in accepting just anything anybody throws at us, particularly because of political propaganda. We need to be careful. We need to scrutinize things. Otherwise, we risk repeating our history.
The worst part of
the worst part of our history. Paul, thanks for the qualification. And so when things like this happen, let's take our time. Let due processes run their course. Paul, all over the world, look, you can never have a perfect system. Things like this are the things that happen, and then we probe, we make sure they don't happen again. Paul, no, people don't know that places like England, there have been revolution in the past. There was a regicide.
A long past.
Yes.
A very long ago
past. There was a regicide.
Yes, there was.
A whole king, his head was chopped off. That resulted in reforms that limited the powers of the king or the queen, and subsequently parliament became insulated, the supremacy of parliament, so on and so forth. So we should not think that because something has happened, this society is bad. No. They are necessary. These are things that help us to develop as a country,
learn from,
and grow our institutions. But unfortunately, because we are averse to such happenings, the moment they happen, we shy away from even approaching them head on and reforming the system. Right? Unless we do that, the democracy won't grow, the institutions won't grow. Now, we think that when something happens, all of us should come out and condemn without scrutinizing. You understand? And I've heard some commentaries and so on and so forth. Some may even want to bring in matters that are unrelated. Even some lawyers. I think that we are lawyers, right? Even if we are politicians. I'm a politician. People don't know, but I'm a politician. I was a regional secretary for TESCON back in tech. People don't know. But when the thing happens, look, let's all wear our professional caps and scrutinize it and find ways, because the judge in her ruling referred to how matters of this nature is dealt with in places like Canada.
She did.
I am sure that historically Canada didn't have these things. But over time, they've developed it.
Yeah.
I'm sure a similar situation may have happened in Canada.
And out of that, this happened.
Exactly. So, Paul.
So we should get it clear. If tape has to be admitted, you have to go to the Constitution and do the exemption.
Exactly.
And say that I'm exempting this Article 18 and admitting this tape on the basis of Article 18.4. I think that is a matter in the interest of morality. Then the precedent is clear.
The precedent is clear.
And if anybody wants to challenge it, they can go to the appeal and challenge that. This is what she said.
Exactly.
And there's no basis.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I get your point. I get your point. Do you want to be a Supreme Court judge tomorrow?
No.
That's what they always say.
No.
You're sure?
No, everybody who knows me knows that. Well, I'm very political.
It doesn't matter.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but political people have sat on the court.
Oh, yes.
NYB at that day was an attorney general. He came on the court.
Our own Justice Kwaman, who for me is one of the best justices.
Gabriel Kwaman is a politician.
He's a politician, yes.
Chairman also. He's on the court.
And Justice Bamfordado. She came from
Joyce Bamfordado?
Yeah, she came from the Supreme Court to be a Speaker of Parliament.
Oh, yes.
On the ticket of the NDC.
Yeah, that's better than before, She finished the court before.
No, she didn't. She resigned.
Oh, she resigned? She was already on the court.
She took an early retirement and then came down.
So it's okay for political people to be judges.
No, I'm not there yet.
Really?
No, I'm not there yet.
Okay, all right. Let's hear the text messages. What are people saying? And did you go to school at a Brig Girls, by the way?
No.
You couldn't have?
I couldn't have.
Okay, Brig Girls are coming to talk to us. Okay, which lifestyle with Fatih is the first? Okay, Fatih, what are people saying?
So this is coming from Master Planner Jr. from Kintampo. He says, thank you very much for bringing such a brilliant lawyer in your studios this evening. Thanks for having time to give us this great education lawyer. We hope this will not be your last. Also coming from Seidu Kama, he says, the lawyer has made my day and he's a very good lawyer. Now from Kweku Louise, he says, good evening, Paul. A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes. The NDC philosophy, if you miss the case, don't miss the man, won't work this time. Coming from Moses Akugi, says, Paul, Justice Kulendi facilitating the meeting with the AG and his cousin doesn't speak well of his image as a judge. His actions sought to put the AG in a compromising position, but by the virtue of his position as a justice of the Supreme Court, made it difficult for the AG to refuse his invitation. I was expecting the CG to also condemn the actions of Justice Kulendi for setting up such a meeting, especially from Justice Kulendi, is privy to the case and the evidence presented by the AG. And also coming from Master Planner again, says, Paul, you make this issue of the autoforcing and the ambulance very easy to understand. Lastly, coming from Inshiraba and Elka, he says, God bless you, Paul, for what happened in court today. You've explained it very much for us. And then he says, Samijan Fee is a very dishonest man. He always twists words. What do you have for us?
Okay, so this is coming from Bismarck. He says, wow, just a brilliant analysis from a brilliant lawyer. And then this is also coming from Prince Scott. He says, very good lawyer. And this one is also coming from Isa Ibrahim. He says, the hypocrisy and dishonesty on the part of NDC is staggering and disgusting, to say the least. As the judge rightly noted, the recording has no relevance to the case in High Court. My regards to lawyer Charles Bisu, the incoming MP for Esikado Ketain constituency. This is also coming from Naja. She says, forcing should be jailed. NDC is always causing problems in Ghana. Also coming from Joseph, he says, God will always redeem the righteous after forcing to Insawam prison over 10.5 odds. Also coming from Isaac, he says, this evening show is dedicated to the Black Stars and Honorable Godfrey Adame. God is really good. And lastly, coming from Papa, he says, best AG so far in the Fourth Republic, Godfrey Adame. Weapon formed against him shall prosper. Head of thy church triumphant, we joyfully adore thee. Right on, AG. What do you have for us, Zanzibar?
Hajia Halima saying that dummy is a law and the law is dummy. He is fire. That bends the NDC and it's assigned, so they see him as the enemy. The reason they will go any length to see his downfall, but no weapon fashioned against him shall prosper. From Ali Umar, Paul, I think Godfrey Dame deserves to be served at the International Court of Justice because his knowledge of the law is amazing to me. In fact, Paul, I would like to meet Godfrey Dami one day, face to face. Emmanuel Kony saying, according to Abdul Malik Kweku Bako, in relation to a certain logic, any idiots can go to the courts, but the caution is the courts does not interrogate conspiracy theories, conjunctures, suspicions, and rumors. They deal with facts, evidence, and law. We also have from Skinny Wanoin saying, righteousness will always triumph over evil. Lastly, from Patrick Opoku, the NDC knew what was about to happen to Atu Forson, and that's why they made him the minority leader in order for his prosecution to be difficult. Fear the NDC. Over to you, Paul.
Okay, so not much to do. I was going to do the analysis on the. Oh no, I was watching a Satawale video. He's shouting. No, don't mind him. I was going to do the analysis on this one, but it will be on our social media page. I'll do it at the weekend. I'll put it on our social media page. You can see it. Then perhaps on Tuesday we'll do it. So tomorrow I'll be here and then I'll conduct that. We'll video it and it will be on our Facebook page. And then on Tuesday it will be available. It's very interesting when we're looking at it. We all liked it, but we don't have enough time. Good evening, Ghana. We have to start doing it daily. Maybe as the election get closer, we'll introduce Wednesdays. Good evening, Ghana as well, so that we have enough time to deal with all the matters, isn't it? Every girls are coming in now, but before then, let's take the Attorney General's montage. You know, it's a beautiful montage you put together for him. All three applications presented by the accused persons today in court against the Attorney General on the basis of an illegal recording actually failed.
Our motto, we are always victorious, 'cause we work in God's way. Oh, every girls, oh, every girl, oh, every mighty eagle, we shall never lose our faith. Oh, every girls, oh, every girls, oh, every mighty eagle, we shall never lose our faith.
Great. We shall never lose our fame. Is that what it says?
Yes.
All right. So I have in the studio with me, viewers, I have Marilyn Kwesi, the organizing secretary.
Yes.
And I have Emilia Saki, the president, and Senior Jamada Devo, who is a famous global cameraman for sports. And Senior Jam, you've been to the Santiago Bernabeu?
No, not that.
You've been
but
to the...
I've covered the Serial, I've done the MLS, I've done 4 World Cups, I've done
4 World Cups?
Yes.
You've done more World Cups than many countries.
You know. I've covered the AFCON since 2008, and I've done about 30 African countries for qualifiers. Yes.
So you are a freelance photographer?
I own an image, so you know how we have image banks.
Yeah,
so I sell
those
images.
photographs.
Because the interesting thing is, you see all these cameramen in international matches, but very few are concentrating on the black man. So what I do is I go around the world and I concentrate on sports men and women of African descent.
Ah, you deserve an applause for that.
Thank you. Me admit.
Okay, let me start with you, Marilyn, as organizing secretary. What is the 1990 year group doing on the 25th anniversary?
So we have 2 things that we are doing. We have our legacy project, which is the renovation of a kitchen, which is on our Irene Anderson compound, and a dining hall. And then we have a speech and prize giving day in November. This legacy project is to give back to the school. So after 25 years of being in school, we have the opportunity to give back. And we want to do something impactful. We want to leave something behind. Once the girls go and have something, sumptuous meals to eat. So that's what we want to do. And we wanted something that the school needed. And the school currently has only 1 kitchen feeding thousands of girls. So we wanted to give them something that will be very, very impactful and will last a lifetime.
Okay, so the legacy project is the kitchen.
and dining hall.
Okay, so who's going to answer the question about funding?
Madam
President? Who's going to fund it?
Okay, so for us to be able to complete the renovation of the kitchen and the dining hall, we've embarked on a plan to raise 2 million cedis. Okay, so far, among the 1999-year-old group, we've raised some part of the money, and now we are also, coming out to get more partners. We have some corporate companies that are already helping us. So far, we have, say, Pergola Creations helping us with all the designs and not charging us for it. We also have, say, Pay Angel helping us. We have Fuel Trade coming on board. We have our alumni, global group. We call it the AUGA Global. All the girls around the world, they are all helping us. And then we are also here to actually invite, all lovers of Abri girls to come help us raise the 2 million. So yeah, that's how we.
Are we helping?
Yes.
We are supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay, both individually and as a corporate, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so I owe you individually.
In fact, you do. We brought you a coupon, actually.
Oh, I see. I'll gladly take it.
Thank you, love.
All right. So the upcoming speech and prize giving day. Who's going to take that question?
So the upcoming speech and prize giving day, what we've done is we try to relate with the girls, let's put it that way, the younger girls. And so we're putting together old students who have, experiences to share. So it's more like a mentorship thing, sort of, yes. You hear speeches from people from certain diverse areas, maybe a bit of not the whole traditional, maybe a lawyer, those things. But we want the younger girls coming after us. Anything and everything you put your mind to is possible so far as you have the discipline and passion for it. So like my president said, we are looking to all lovers. Come, it's our speech day, we're putting it together, but it's a community thing. It's a community that brings up children. And so we're inviting, again, everybody.
Wow. What about the impact that you are expecting this project to have on the future students?
So the impact about that, first of all, the number one thing is the act of giving back to the society that trained you. That is why the year group has chosen something that the girls can easily relate to. We could have sponsored any other fancy project, but we want something that the girls walk into every day. They take a feel of it. This was done by our seniors. This was done by our mothers, meaning that it lies on us to go train and come back and give something back to the school. And so we're hoping that not only Abri Girls, but all other schools, just like PRESEC also does, like all other alumni, take up this thing, learn from us, that let's try and always look, like my president said, what do the people need? What is the immediate, not some posh, as a kitchen. A kitchen is really needed. We could have done anything else, but we are doing a kitchen.
For the whole school?
If you've gone to, you haven't been to Abri Girls.
I've been on the
mountain.
Whole
PRESEC.
I can't remember where the kitchen was.
PRESEC. So Abri Girls has two compounds, right? We have the main school side, and then we have the Irene Anderson. So this project is for the Irene Anderson bit of it. So
the dining hall?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
So like when they walk in, then they say, "Hey, Charlie, the kitchen is nice."
The side doesn't have the modern one that you are creating.
Will
another year group then come and do that?
Yeah, so that's what we're saying. What's the impact? Your question was, what's the impact? It's to motivate people to give back. So if you've seen that, Charlie, they did Irene Anderson, but you think you're a school sider, which is what we call those at the other side, and you want that you ate in the school side dining hall, take it up. And it's not even just up to year groups, even individuals. If you have the capacity, come on board and let's build our institutions.
Budget, so that I can tell the PRESEC Global President, Ernesto Forisapo, he's a rich
Thank
man.
you, President.
You have a global budget.
Just 2 million. You're not asking for much.
2
Only 2 million.
Yes.
Not 500,000. 2.
No.
It's for both the kitchen and the dining hall.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay.
And what we
So
are,
if the global president of PRESEC, Ernesto Foisapon, can sign the check.
Oh,
We are
you
done.
will dance for him. And I'll do the photos.
Okay, of course, yeah. And it will be global.
We will tag everywhere when there's something say dining. The photos will pop up.
Wow. Okay, so President, tell us, what is the message to the current students, apart from to the current students and the alumni, apart from the inspiration that this edifice will create? What's the message?
okay, so the message to the current students is that we, they are big sisters. We know that currently, for them, those on the Irene Anderson compound, some of them actually, when they cook on the main compound, they have to carry the food across the bridge to them, and some even have to eat in batches. So we've thought about them, and they shouldn't worry. Definitely, we know we are going to raise this money and complete the kitchen and the dining hall on the Irene Anderson compound for them, and so that they can concentrate on their studies and actually, we create a very good dining experience for them. And to all our alumni, what we are saying is, this is, a project that all of us know it's very dear to us. And really, like I said earlier, the global AUGA, which is all old Aburi Girls students around the world, this year actually, like you asked earlier, what are we doing on the main compound? The main focus for all of us is actually fixing the dining hall on both campuses. So we are taking the lead on the Irene Anderson. The main compound one is also there. So let all of us come on board and then raise funds to be able to give back, like Senior said. So really, that's the only message that we have for alumni. They should come on board and let's all complete the project this year for our younger girls, and even for future, because really, what we are doing is going to last definitely, yes, some 15, 20 years. So every, girl, whether you are in now or you are now aiming to go to Aburi Girls, and even some of the alumni, our children probably will be going.
Extended alumni.
Our children will be.
Alumni.
Yes, all of
okay,
you.
that works.
Seconds, yes, everybody
really works.
should come on board. Yes, so that's the message.
Usually on this program and programs like this, we ask the last question. We ask you to tell us who are the prominent people who attended Aburi Girls for inspiration. So apart from me, who are the other great people who attended Aburi Girls?
Okay, so we have Gloria Kufu.
Gloria Kufu, the former Attorney General?
Yes.
Yeah, she looks it,
So her year group have actually adopted the main kitchen and dining hall that they are working on to.
Oh, I see.
To also, yes.
But year group will be older than yours, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
They gave it to us.
Do some of your year group have children in Aburi Girls today?
Yes.
Some of your mates?
I think about 3 of them.
That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yes,
That's
about
nice.
3 of them.
Some of us who have our grandchildren.
Okay, so thank you very much, Aburi Girls. We'll just take photographs.
And
outside this.
I think we have the current is it chief of staff? It's a brigade or is
Yes,
not?
yes, Freeman.
Yes,
Freeman
and then
Freeman
we also-
Opari?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
And
okay.
then we also have Professor is it Hoffman? Is it?
Yes.
Hoffman, the
Yes.
science lady,
Yes.
the
Yes.
quiz
Yes.
mistress.
Yes.
She's also the Aburi Girls.
Yes.
Ah.
You have me.
But why have people been thinking that she's Wesley Girls or something? Oh, she's Aburi Girls.
Yes,
That's
she
actually
is.
better.
So don't you see that she's a lady laced with some
I
fine
can see that.
eyelids?
I can see that. I can see that. It's actually better.
Can I just add that? Okay,
Yeah.
so we have some programs that we'll be doing. So in July, 27 July, we'll be doing a fundraiser event here in Accra. Then in August, we'll have a cooking competition. In October, we'll have a walk for Pediatric to Aburi. Then finally, then
Pediatric to Aburi is too short.
And even that.
Is that too short?
Finishing line to take photos.
Yeah, you are allowed to take photos, but Pediatric to Aburi there, Charlie, it's not long. It
you
may be hilly.
No,
Is it hilly?
you
No, it's
mensa.
about the same level.
From a
Because by
Mensa.
Pediatric, you finish the hill. So Aburi is
So
there.
we'll do a Mensa.
No, please go to Ayimensa.
Yes,
That's
then we'll climb
better.
the hills,
That's
yes.
better.
And then finally in November, that's when we hand over the kitchen and the dining hall to the school. And
Construction?
Yeah, we went to break glass. What was that?
And it will be ready in November.
Yes, it has to be ready.
Hey, that's tight.
November.
Yes.
Yeah, very tight.
That's why we need you to sign things.
Yeah.
So please talk to
I will tell
the
Ernest
main guy
Oforisapon,
for
the
us.
global president. Yeah.
Paul, I'll be calling you tomorrow to
Yeah,
remind you.
please.
You
please,
know
please.
me.
Also, get the chief of staff to tell the president. Akufo-Addo likes these
See how you
things.
are changing.
He will,
this.
no, Oforisapon
We are
will do.
talking to you.
We'll do Oforisapon, but do the president as well, and then
We hear you.
and talk to President Mahama as well. You know.
You see.
Yeah. It's election season, so you know.
And
And the Speaker of Parliament, the Speaker of Parliament, Speaker Bagbin. Yeah, he too. Talk to him. Do you have any big girls in Parliament? Or they don't like politics?
Oh, they do. We do, but we're very subtle about it. You know, we are kingmakers.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that.
Kingmakers.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
We'll take photos after that, but for viewers, thank you very much for watching. It's going to be a good weekend, I hope. If you drink, don't drive. That's Good Evening Ghana. We're back on Tuesday. Thanks for watching and good night.